Were there really advanced civilizations that got obliterated by a comet strike at the end of the last ice age?
And it was this ancient apocalypse 12,800 years ago that wiped that from the human memory banks.
Because the question always is, where are the artifacts? Where's the pottery? Where is the evidence that this civilization existed? And, you know, it's like, imagine that you drop an atomic bomb on a city and it completely obliterates it. And then a short while later, you drop another one on the same place. What's going to be left for? You know, it's going to be just rubble.
Welcome to Lost History, where we try to find our history that was, well, lost. Last time, the mysterious engravings on Pillar 34 at Gobekli Tepe made us think that some 12,000 years ago, a comet hit Earth, potentially causing a massive climate shift and resulting in the downfall of our ancient and rather advanced civilizations. And even though the existence of these civilizations is still highly questionable, the comet strike seems quite plausible. Or does it? Again, we take a peek at the Joe Rogan podcast, where he confronted Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock, who believe in this theory, with Michael Shermer, a well-known skeptic. According to Shermer, conventional history agrees that there was a mass extinction event at the end of the last ice age, but historians think that it was us humans who hunted down all the gigantic prehistoric animals to extinction, including woolly mammoths, giant sloths, and even cave bears. But there are many holes in that theory.
There's no evidence that humans hunted the predators.
And this comment is spot on. Our ancestors were more likely to hide from saber-toothed tigers and other apex predators of the time than hunt them down. It was more likely they would hunt down a mammoth, which is less dangerous, and would provide them with much more food than a cave lion, for example. But according to Carlson, even the evidence that we hunted mammoths on a large scale is very sparse.
It's a big stretch to go from, okay, we've got a dozen sites where we have mammoth remains, and along with those mammoth remains, we find a few Clovis spear points. From there to say that 10 or 12 million woolly mammoths, or 4 species of mammoths on 4 continents, were wiped out by Paleo-Indian hunters.
And furthermore, it is known that humans at that time were hunter-gatherers with a wide-ranging diet.
Why would they be choosing the largest, most dangerous animals to hunt when they had such a proliferation of other smaller animals?
And especially, what would make them hunt the dangerous ones, such as cave bears and prehistoric lions, with primitive weapons, such as an atlatl. So the deeper we go, the further we stray away from the claim that humans caused the extinction of all of the prehistoric animals. There has to be something else. But let's go back to what we think we know. The general consensus is that the mass extinction event occurred roughly between 13,000 and 11,600 years ago.
Although the dating has a wide spread on it, so you can't pinpoint it down to a specific event. But I've always felt like that there had to be something we needed to look at that triggered the extreme climate changes that we do see at the end of the Ice Age.
So, we know that at that point sudden and disastrous climate change took place, and that it resulted in the abrupt end of the Ice Age and a widespread extinction of wildlife. Historians explain this with the Milankovitch cycle, which is this celestial dance the Earth does with the sun, which makes it go through periodical shifting back and forth from ice ages to warmer interglacial periods, like the one we are in now. The problem with this theory is that it usually takes thousands of years for this cycle to happen, and the change we are talking about happened very fast. Historians agree that there was also a sudden climate shift, but they don't know what caused it, and that's where the comet theory comes in.
And then the impact hypothesis is proposed. Okay, so this was debated, and it didn't fare that well because there were a lot of mammals and other species that didn't go extinct.
This makes sense at first glance. An impact so huge would probably wipe out most species, right? Well, I'm not a biologist. Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. Smaller species need less food, so maybe it was much easier for them to get through rough times than giant beasts. Joe Rogan seems to agree.
Well, we know that the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs 65 million years ago didn't kill everything.
Right.
Right.
And that is a massive impact, far bigger than anything we're talking about.
There are many factors that come into play here. It's not just the impact that killed the animals, it's the resulting climate change, and we can't possibly factor in all the possible consequences of such an event. So let's dig a bit more into the impact itself.
There may have been as many as 4 impacts, that they were on the North American ice cap.
And there's the problem. The impact location was 2 miles thick ice, so no wonder there's no crater left for us to see. But that doesn't diminish the consequences of such an event.
One, you don't realize the extent of the total remodeling of this planetary surface that took place. I mean, imagine your sea level rising at 3 or 4 times, at least, faster than we've seen rise in the last century. And anything that's there, short of large megalithic blocks, is going to be utterly obliterated.
Randall Carlson has been researching extinction events for 30 years, especially this last one because it happened at a time when humans were already present. According to him, the impact theory is highly plausible.
Younger Dryas.
Yes, the Younger Dryas, which is still an unexplained climate anomaly. Yes, it's, what you had was this spasm of extreme warming followed by rapid shifting into extreme cold, literally within a matter of a few years.
According to his research, proof of this cosmic event has been found over 4 continents. Of course, Michael Shermer seems to be skeptical of these fringe theories. Well, he ought to be, being the publisher of Skeptic magazine. However, I must say I am quite disappointed in him. I expected there to be a much more substantiated debate. Instead, he just keeps repeating how there is not enough proof for all those theories, and he keeps backing the conventional ones, as flawed as they are.
The way it works in science is the default position is the skeptical position. We assume your hypothesis is not true.
First of all, a real skeptic should be skeptical of everything. He's the one who should be questioning the validity of mainstream thought in the first place. Yet he regurgitates those theories, even though they have massive plot holes. Then, when he is confronted with a plausible explanation, he just denies it on the basis of lack of evidence. And when he asks why these theories haven't been accepted yet, he gets an immediate answer.
Jacques Mars, the excavator of the Bluefish Caves in the Yukon, back in the 1970s was proposing that human beings had been in the Americas at least 24,000 years ago. His reputation was utterly destroyed. His research funding was withdrawn. He was given no access to grants. He wasn't able to do his work. He was heavily penalized and punished by the community. And now, just a few weeks ago, we have the Smithsonian coming out and saying, sorry, we got it wrong. Jacques Mars was right all along.
Hancock goes on to cite other researchers that suffered a similar fate. Now, let that sink in for just a moment. Imagine that one moment you're a valued archaeologist. Then you find something and create a hypothesis that is controversial, but you believe it's true. And the next thing you know, you have been ousted by the community, your funding withdrawn, and you lose everything you struggled to build your entire life. No wonder that experts are afraid to give credence to a new and original idea if that is the potential consequence. Now imagine if archaeology loosened up a bit and actually used real funding to explore some of the theories proposed by Hancock, Carlson, and others in order to see if there is enough evidence to support it. Would that bring us closer or further to understanding our own past? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you want to see more of these videos, the best thing you can do is subscribe and let me know. Until next time.